Hello world, Billy here again, and we're back with My Hero Academia chapter 423. Last chapter, we saw everyone get involved in taking the brunt of All For One's attacks so that Deku can deliver the final blow against All For One, and it seemed to be working for the most part. I was a bit on edge because usually there are two ways sort of lead ups can go. It's either leads up to something good, obviously, or lead up to something to a twist where something bad happens to our MC or something. That seemed like what might happen. But I think really we're at the end right now, which is really good. I'm happy about that. At the very end, we sort of saw All For One, I guess, monologuing or mono thinking to himself that the difference between Deku and All Might is sort of that, I guess, both of them were initially quirkless, but All Might sort of represented this symbol of strength, while Deku, in a sense, yes, he's strong, but you can sort of see this weakness that is apparent in him, but despite that weakness, he keeps moving forward, just like the Attack Titan. Yeah, and that makes everyone around him also desire to help him achieve his dreams, desire to strive forward with him and to also keep moving forward. So, yeah, and that also urged the President of the United States to ask his cabinet or his people to send all their heroes also to Japan to help defeat All For One. So that's kind of where we are right now. I don't know if that was just like a platitude or if it's actually gonna come in useful. Like, are the heroes gonna actually be useful in helping to stop All For One, or will they just show up and the battle will be over, or will something happen with All For One escaping and then the heroes that show up will help? So I don't know how that's gonna go, but let's see what happens. So without further ado, let's jump right into 423. One for All versus All For One. This is the first time we've gotten that title. I feel like we've had a variation of it before. This guy never takes any sort of accountability. Everyone else is always to blame. Like, man, dang. I don't want to spoil this. This is gonna be a kind of. He's gonna try and take over Deku's buddy, or take over someone else's buddy. It's only fitting, like I was saying, if Bakugo shows up, that would be so hype. Bruh. Nice. So yeah, they thought he was helping. Where he exploded the warp gate with his mouth. Well, with explosions from his mouth. His awakened quirk is broken, my guy. Absolutely broken. His ski jump. Still carried out his sense of justice. Yeah, I didn't completely just batter him. one last interaction. Because again, One for All was the power created, specifically tailored, cultivated, right, to defeat All for One. So, yep, couldn't be his savior. Conversation. Oof. This panel goes hard. That radio distortion. Dang. That goes hard. Nice. Yeah, so well, it wasn't quite the conversation. Well, it wasn't in the order I was expecting, because I was thinking they would have this conversation at the time where Shigaraki was redeemed, but Shigaraki was redeemed as a little kid, which sort of makes sense. But I'm glad they still had this last conversation, well, like with a more mature Shigaraki, right? I think it sort of ties everything up pretty well, especially when you think back to the first time Shigaraki had met Deku in the mall, when, you know, he basically had 4 fingers across Deku's neck. And yeah, I believe that was also one of the first times we met Tsukauchi, so All Might's friend in the police force. And yeah, at that time Shigaraki wanted to meet, I guess, All Might's protege, because Shigaraki knew he was All for One's protege, and that they were eventually going to clash. So he just wanted to, he was scoping out the enemy, so to speak. So I like that they sort of had this one last moment to say their goodbyes, say their farewells, and also just again tie things up pretty nicely. Yeah, Kurogiri almost messed things up for them, but my boy Bakugo came in clutch, and yeah, he said, get that warp gate out of here. And that punch was able to keep on going and absolutely destroy. I love that he sort of even pushes Deku forward, in a sense, which is pretty neat. Yeah, but even as All for One said, even the way in which Deku landed the final blow was in such a way that the embers of One for All, which contain Yoichi within the vestige space, would be transferred into Shigaraki's body, or All for One's quirk space, his vestige, his inner territory. And yeah, that could sort of be the culmination, the final interaction between the two brothers. It's funny, at the end he starts saying, I love you. Twisted form of love, but yeah. Really good. I'm glad nothing bad happened like I thought it might happen. So I'm pretty happy about that. Well, this was a fantastic chapter. I guess now it's sort of tidying things up and also rebuilding Hero Society to be more transparent. You know, the heroes need to be more transparent with the civilians. The heroes also need lots of programs to, I guess, address some of the issues that they face, you know, while they're trying to do their jobs. So, and the civilians also need to be more understanding that the heroes are just people too. You shouldn't put them on a pedestal, right? And it's a joint effort to keep the country safe, to keep their community safe, right? So anyhow, this is a really good chapter. We're gonna move on to chapter 424. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.